Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name's Em, and as you saw on the thumbnail or the title, this week's vlog I am going to be exchanging my screen time for reading time. So I have a little screenshot of what my reading time looks like. Last week I also wrote down how much. So last Sunday I spent 2 hours and 55 minutes on my phone. Sad. So I did start early this morning. It's almost 10 o'clock and I have read for 2 hours and 3 minutes already. Part of that is I woke up a little bit before the kids and I finished Unstoppable Us by Yuval Noah Harari. And it was fantastic. It's nonfiction, but really I think everybody should read it. It was so good. My 8-year-old is now listening to the audiobook, so I look forward to their review. I think that will be really fun. And then I also read a few more chapters in the first novella in the Tensorate series by Neon Yang. I'm really digging this. I'm hoping to finish the first novella, The Black Tides of Heaven. I have that much left. So I'm hoping to finish it today. And then I did go grocery shopping this morning, and so I started Nerd Adventures from Fandom. Is that what it's called? By Maya Phillips. I've been listening to it on audio, so most of my reading time today has been audio related, but I'm really liking this. I think Maya Phillips and I must be of a similar age because the things she's talking about are things that I also grew up watching. So she's been talking about the animated X-Men TV show and Batman and Animaniacs, and she's talked about Ren and Stimpy a little bit, which I didn't watch but was aware of, and and just how Saturday morning cartoons impacted her interests. And so I always really like to listen to nonfiction essays about pop culture from somebody who's of a similar age, because I feel very I don't know, it feels like existing in a community when I read books where the authors have a similar, maybe not lived experience, but cultural experience. It's always fun. So I'm going to keep going with that. And then, like I said, finish that novella. And I don't have an ebook right now, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm excited for how this week is going to go. I have definitely caught myself just mindlessly scrolling through Instagram. And I know it's bad actually when I hop on YouTube on my phone and I'm just scrolling through that first page and just seeing what randomly pops up. I'm not even clicking on anything. I'm not watching anything. I'm just scrolling through and looking at titles and thumbnails. And that's when I know that it's bad and I need a break. So there we go. I'm interested to see how maybe only using my phone for audiobooks affects my screen time, because I am a really big audiobook listener and I'm a really big podcast listener. And so I just don't know how that's going to affect my screen time. I also do have a part-time job where I am a social media manager for a bookstore. So I will need to be on my phone for that. So I'm going to do my best, but I have, some complications. I love being a social media manager for a bookstore. It's so fun. I get a lot of joy out of it, but it also is the number one reason why I haven't ever deleted Instagram from my phone. And I fantasize about taking a month off and deleting all my social media and just, going off the grid for a month. But I don't know if that's ever going to happen. But anyways, that's the dream. So I am going to hop into, who am I going to do? Am I going to read? Actually, I think I'm not going to read. I think Steph is having a live book club discussion for one of the books that we were buddy reading in her Patreon. So that is coming up here in 15 minutes. So I'm going to do that, do some chores. Eventually I will do more reading. One of my kiddos and I, so they read Simon versus the Homo Sapien Agenda by Becky Albertalli earlier this summer. loved it, and then reread it last week as a comfort read, which they never do. Like, they'll reread graphic novels, but they very rarely will reread chapter books. And they loved it so much, and so they asked me to read it. So then I read it last week, and I really liked it too. So then last night we watched Love, Simon together, and wow, was that disappointing. So disappointing. We were both so mad. So they really need like a palate cleanser to wipe that memory out. So we might also watch To All the Boys I've Loved Before today, because that is a favorite for both of us, which I would not hate. We also probably will go to the library today. We might go to the bookstore. We might just see what happens. So yeah, welcome to the vlog. Alright friends, it is 3 o'clock. I just got home from the gym. I have been listening to Nerd Adventures in Fandom from this universe to the multiverse pretty much all day. I am 46% of the way through it, which is great, and I've been reading for 3 hours and 16 minutes when it's all said and done. That is well over what the goal was. The goal was 2 hours and 55 minutes. So I think that is a success for today. I guess I will keep timing just for fun, just to see where I get by the end of the day. I don't imagine every day this week is going to look like this. It is Sunday. I haven't had to work. You know, there's like, I went to the gym for not quite an hour, but you know, not an insubstantial amount of time. So, and I've been doing a lot of chores, and chores is prime audiobook time. But I am gonna go outside and try to finish up the novella in the first novella in the Tensorate series. It is beautiful outside, and I feel like I'm wasting the last like however long we have of nice weather. Like, it's not boiling hot outside. And I know it's going to start raining soon, and while I am very excited for the rain, I know I will quickly miss being able to sit outside and read, so I'm going to go take advantage of that. I forgot to say earlier with Nerd, I am really liking it. Like I said, the author and I seem to be of a similar age, so a lot of her influential pop culture moments are similar to my influential pop culture moments. But I especially really liked so far, she has a section about Buffy the Vampire Slayer, with acknowledgement to Joss Whedon's abusive behavior on set, but just how it shaped her adolescence and influenced like what collectively we were trying to tap into with Buffy. And Buffy was a really foundational television show for me. So I really liked that section. And then she had another section about Sailor Moon, and I got emotional when she was referencing certain scenes in the TV show. And so I really loved that. But then she went even deeper into anime and the different styles of anime and how it differs in Japan versus in the United States, and how shows that we're really familiar with in America, like Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that, how altered it is from what it started out as. So I found that all really interesting. Hello, friends. Happy Monday. I have the cat down here, so if I'm distracted, that's why. I did a good amount of reading again last night. I stopped. Oh, there's cat hair. I stopped tracking the count because I'd reached, the goal for the day. So I just, read. I started You're a Mean One, Matthew Prince, which I am not loving. The main character is very wealthy and white and entitled, and he's the only POV, and it's first person POV, and yeah, so I'm not loving it. It's kind of on a chapter by chapter probation, I guess. It's always one chapter away from being DNF'd. So we'll see if I keep going with that one. And still listening to Nerd. Still loving it. And I finished the first novella in the Tensorate series. So that's kind of where we're at. I have read for 50 minutes and 42 seconds so far today. I did that this morning. Now I just got home from work and I've had lunch and I'm debating if I'm going to the gym today. I probably should go to the gym today. But I have about 40 minutes before that is a thing that needs to be done. So I'm going to try and sit down and get some reading done. But I don't know what I'm going to read. I might just keep listening to Nerd because it's so good. I like it so much. The chapter I listened to this morning was talking about blackness in nerd culture, and she started off talking about Black Panther and what it was like for going to see Black Panther for the first time in movie theaters, and what having a black superhero is like if you are also like a black consumer of nerd media. And then it goes on to talk about the history of black superheroes in DC and in Marvel, and then just the problematic qualities of having a black character in a TV show that has time travel as a main element, and what TV shows have gotten it really wrong, which ones have gotten it almost right. Nobody's really totally nailed it yet, but yeah, I'm really loving this book. I'm so glad I picked it up. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna go listen to. Hi friends. It is 6:08. I am at 3 hours and 7 minutes. I just finished Nerd and I liked it so much. I think it's a 4.5. Yeah, I think it's a 4.5. I really liked it. And it's one of those books that it's about a certain topic, but it's also kind of a memoir, but it's a memoir of that author's life framed around their experiences and interactions with whatever the topic's about. So I really loved it. I loved when she talked about Firefly and Serenity and the ways that show is great, but then the ways that show is also problematic and complicated. I didn't love the talking about Harry Potter, but that's more just a personal issue. I just find Harry Potter discourse very boring. You're ridiculous. And then I DNF'd You're a Mean One, Matthew Prince, because you have to be quiet so that I can edit this out. Okay. Because it's single person POV, and I just didn't like being in that character's head. He's very entitled and very spoiled and very rich, and I was trying to read it, I think I said this earlier, in the voice of David from Schitt's Creek, and it just wasn't working. And then I switched to the audiobook, and the narrator was very good at his job because he made the spoiled entitlement even worse. So I DNF'd that. So now I need to pick a new audiobook, which I will probably make Hazel help me since they're standing right here being annoying. So your choices are a book about the pandemic, a murder mystery set on a space station, a book inspired by a video game, a gay book, a biography, or another gay book. All right, so Hazel picked Paris Daillencourt is About to Crumble by Alexis Hall. I have not read Rosalind Palmer, so fingers crossed I don't need to. Hi, friends. It is, what is it? It's Wednesday. Hi. I didn't do an update yesterday. It just got to be really busy, and I will be honest, I didn't do a very good job of staying off my phone, especially like towards the end of the day when I was starting to get tired, like mentally and physically and socially. We had a lot going on because in addition to like the normal like work, school stuff, it was also the first night dance classes starting up again, first night of swim lessons, and also back to school night for my twins. So there's a lot. And you go to meet a lot of teachers once your kids are in middle school. So I definitely was doing a little bit of like disassociating on my phone just by like muscle memory, I guess. I caught myself doing it, and once I caught myself doing it, I tried to put my phone down and do other things. But Tuesdays are definitely, I guess, my more exhausting days. I was supposed to read for 3 hours and 28 minutes yesterday. I didn't quite make it. I did 3 hours and 23 minutes, so 5 minutes short. But today is a new day. Today I have to read for 2 hours and 39 minutes. So I'm about to do that. I just wanted to show my timer before I zeroed it out and started again. Oh, today is going to be a pretty standard day. We don't have any after school activities, and I really need to clean the house. It's gotten a little away from me this week. So that's like today's to-do list. But I am really loving Paris Daillencourt is About to Crumble. This has kind of a similar protagonist as your main one, Matthew Prince. Like, our main character is like a very wealthy, college-aged white man, but Alexis Hall makes Paris so likable, whereas that other book, Matthew, is so off-putting. I had a lot of fun with it. It's very cute. Paris is a highly anxious person though, so I'm like, I'm an anxious person as well, but there's been times where I've been like, oh honey, whew, you're really going through it. So yeah, I will probably listen to a little bit more of that. That while I have my coffee and my murder bot mug, and I will do a proper update. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze again later this afternoon. Hello, I'm here for an update. I've been reading for 3 hours and 28 minutes, and I just finished Paris Daillencourt is About to Crumble by Alexis Hall. This was, let me adjust. This was so sweet and so adorable and so heartfelt. Sometimes frustrating. So this is book 2 in, I don't know what the series is called, but it centers around like a fictional version of a Great British Bake Off, which was totally adorable. Absolutely brought like the Great British Bake Off vibes. I loved that part so much. Makes me really want to pick up Rosalind Palmer Takes the Cake, I think is the first book. So this is another season on the show, and we are following Paris Daillencourt and Tariq Hassan, who are both competitors on the TV show, and of course, because it is a romance, they fall in love. But there's, you know, some things going on. Paris has really horrible anxiety, like really horrible. I also have anxiety, but even being empathetic about Paris having anxiety, Paris's anxiety is so bad that there were multiple times where I was like, oh boy, oh buddy. So it was a lot. So if reading about anxious people is not your jam, this might not be the book for you, but I really liked it. I thought it was really sweet and heartfelt. Like I said, Alexis Hall was really good about doing the feelings, and it was really quiet. For the most part, you know, there's not any like big dramatic things happening. It's just people like living their lives and just people, you know, going through the things and living their lives and just being people. And I really liked that. I thought that was really sweet. But where was I going to go with this? But this is also a delightfully low steam romance. I really liked it. I really liked it. It was really sweet. So I'm so happy that I finally read this, and I'm going to have to pick a new audiobook now because apparently I am only an audiobook reader at this moment of my life. So we need to pick a new audiobook. Which one should I read, Puzzle? Ooh, that one? All right. Sounds good. Good choices. Good morning. Here with another update. I just got home from walking my youngest to school, and I think I'm gonna walk to work this morning as well because it's supposed to be warm this afternoon, but it feels lovely outside right now. So I'm gonna take advantage of it. But I am currently an hour and 13 minutes into my reading for today. Let's see, where am I with my reading? I am still working on the second novella in the Tensorate series, and we have a little bit of a time jump from the first novella. We skipped ahead about 4 years, and in the first book, first novella, we were mostly in Akia's point of view. Oh, it's a different vlog. I need to say what this is about. This is about twins who are born to the protector, who is the ruler of this kingdom, but she's pretty tyrannical ruler. And the twins are sent to live at a monastery in exchange to settle a debt until it's discovered that one of the twins is a prophet, and then the protector takes them back, and then the twins separate and go on different journeys. And a lot of stuff happens in that first novella, but we're mostly in Akia's point of view. Then in this one, we're in his sister Makoya's point of view. Like what she's dealing with in the second novella is a spoiler for the first novella, so I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm only reading this with my eyeballs, so it's just a little bit slower going, but I'm really liking it. I love the writing. I love the world building. I think this world is really, really cool and really fascinating. So I'm loving that. This is primarily my bedtime book. I have the footage that you saw of Puzzle picking my next book, and she picked Breathless, The Scientific Race to Defeat a Deadly Virus by David Quammen, and this is about COVID and the development of the vaccine. And I listened to part 1 yesterday, and so I'm like that far. And it's very interesting, especially since the first part was like it takes place during December of 2019. So it's just about what was going on behind the scenes in the scientific community as awareness of COVID was spreading through the scientific community, and like what scientists and what's the other word I want? Epidemiologists, there we go, that's the word. Just what was going on behind the scenes in their community as reports were coming out of Wuhan and Hong Kong. So it's very interesting. I've been really scared to read this book. I just wasn't sure if I wanted to go back to that space of that first year of the pandemic. I'm really liking it so far, and I'm not feeling too overwhelmed or triggered by it. So that's good. And then this morning, I really impulsively started The Wind at My Back by Misty Copeland, which is part memoir and part biography. I wasn't going to start it, but I really like starting off my day by listening to an audiobook. It's just an easy way for my brain to wake up when I wake up so early in the morning. But I was definitely not in the mood for this. So the Misty Copeland book is only 5 hours on audio, and then I listen at 2 times speed. So I started that, and I'm really delighted by it so far. The writing's not great, if I'm being honest. It's a little repetitive. She had not a ghostwriter because she's credited, but she had help. Susan Fales Hill helped her write it. Misty Copeland reads it. And when I was doing ballet in high school, Misty Copeland I don't think she was even in the corps at ABT yet. I think she was still in the school, but I just liked her so much, was low-key obsessed with her. I definitely lost track of her career, as I went to college and ballet became a less significant part of my life. Listening to this memoir where she's talking about her career and how, in between, the point I'm at right now is 2012. So hearing about her career during that part of time when I was I had newborn twins in 2012. I was not paying attention to anything beyond basic survival. It's fun to listen to, a little bit nostalgic, and I really appreciate this conversation about how hard it is to be a Black ballerina and in a predominantly, white space. And then it's part memoir for Misty Copeland, and then it's part biography for Raven Wilkinson, who is also a Black ballerina and the first for many, many things. And Misty talks quite a bit about how lonely and isolating it can be to be the first at something, especially when you are always being the first at something. I really like it. And I think if you are also a ballet fan, if you were also low-key obsessed with Misty Copeland, then I would definitely recommend it, just with the caveat that the writing's not great. So you definitely have to overlook some amateur tendencies, I guess. They feel like really common mistakes that a lot of people who are new to writing would make, and mistakes that I have made in writing. So it's not enough to deter me from enjoying it. So yeah, so that's the update. Like I said, I do have to go to work soon. We have swim lessons again this evening, and then back to school night for my 2nd grader. So it's another busy evening. We'll see how much reading I get to do today. My husband and I are currently on season 2 of Good Omens, and we haven't watched for the last 2 nights because I've been really tired by the time the kids are all in bed, but I'd really like to watch an episode tonight. But if we do that, then that also really takes away from my reading time. Oh, but today is a lower reading day. I only have to read an hour and 51 minutes today. Apparently Thursday is not a high screen day for me. Unlike Tuesdays. And I already did my social media work for my part-time job, so I don't need to go on my phone again, other than to check comments and if there's any DMs and stuff, but that doesn't take very long. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a very good day. All right, but now I gotta go get ready. Okay. I have to be completely honest, y'all. I just crashed hard. I got home from work, I had lunch, and I promptly laid down on my bed and turned on, I was partway through Liv's most recent vlog, and I just was almost comatose on the bed for a good 30 minutes. I'm vertical now, so that's an improvement. I realized I hadn't lesson planned for my dance class this afternoon, so I lesson planned for my dance class, and now I'm going to start reading again, but I definitely needed a 30-minute veg state where no brain cells needed to work at all. But I'm better now, and more importantly, made myself a coffee. Yay. And I'm gonna drink that and enjoy laying on my bed and I guess listen to some more of the Misty Copeland book, which I'm almost done with, and I have really enjoyed. I thought it was going to be, I don't know what I thought it was going to be. I don't think I really had any expectations, but I didn't expect for it to be as meaningful as it has been, because I listened to it on my walk to work, on my walk home from work. You know, her mentor that she's talking about, Raven Wilkinson, was dancing professionally in the 50s and was part of a touring ballet company, and they would frequently go into Jim Crow South United States, and Raven Wilkinson is a Black dancer, and so just the realities of what it was like to be a Black dancer in the 50s and how some of that is still echoed in what Black ballerinas have to go through now. And I just haven't read anything that really tackles ballet's history with how it's treated Black dancers and just how that further feeds into the systemic racism that the United States has. I'm liking it a lot. The repetition has gone away. That hasn't really repeated itself since the beginning of the book. And I feel like the farther I've gotten into Misty's story and hearing about Raven's life, the better the writing has gotten. So yes, if you are a former bunhead, I think I would really recommend this book. I'm going to go finish it now, and hopefully that will stand. I don't know what review I'm going to give it. I'm leaning towards a 5. I'm going to be honest. I tend to give most memoir-y nonfiction 5 stars because it's someone's life, and like rating someone's life seems weird. So I just tend to give them all 5 stars. Happy Friday! It is my day off. Woohoo, I'm so excited. It's supposed to be 90 degrees today, so this is not gonna last long, but I'm just gonna pretend like I'm living my best fall life. My youngest and I walked to school this morning, as you saw, and then I went grocery shopping, and now I'm home. I still have to put the groceries away, but I wanted to do a little update. I opted to sleep in this morning instead of read, which was very needed. The only reading I've done is the audiobook listening I did at the grocery store. And I started Lavender House by Lev A.C. Rosen. And I got about 66 pages into the book at the grocery store. And I actually think I'm gonna not read this because it's murder mystery and it has a very noir style to it, and that is just not my jam most of the time. And in this time I'm not digging it, and that's okay. So I am not going to be reading this, which means I am probably gonna pick up Station Eternity. Maybe. I am also reading, 2 things right now because I'm still reading the Tensorate series. And then I'm also reading, Breathless, which I didn't get to really read yesterday. So I need to get on that today. I was thinking it might be nice to go to one of my local coffee shops and sit outside and read before it gets super hot. And I also have to go to the library and pick up some books, and then I guess take this back. And then it's pizza movie night tonight. I don't know what we're gonna watch. Oh, Steph's Patreon is doing a 36-hour readathon this weekend, starting at 6 o'clock tonight. It is dark academia themed, but I'm not gonna do dark academia. There's also like a buddy read that you could participate in if you want to, but the book is only available on Amazon right now, so I will not be participating in that one, but that's okay. I'll still read along with everybody. There are a lot of wasps out in my yard this morning. I don't like that. How am I supposed to go sit outside if there are wasps everywhere? Oh my gosh. Anyways, okay, sorry. You're not here for wasp watch. Yeah, so I think that's the update. Right now I need to go unload all the groceries, and my phone is in the other room, so I'll show you my timer update and the next time I do an update. I think that'll work. Okay, Anything else? Nope, that's it. Okay, bye. All right, friends, I'm home from not being in the house, and I am at an hour and 54 minutes. I need to read for 2 hours and 22 minutes today, so I still have a little bit to go. I did go to the library, which you saw the B-roll for that, and I picked up 3 books that I've already read this month where I want physical copies for my wrap-up at the end of the month. And then I picked up some books that my youngest had on hold. And then for me to actually read, I picked up a copy of Rebecca, which I have never read, and Novel Pairings Podcast. This is their book for September that they're going to do an episode about. And I really like listening to the way Sarah and Chelsea discuss literature. I read The Odyssey along with their podcast over the summer and had a really wonderful time. So I really want to read Rebecca, then listen to the episode because I really like consuming classics that way. However, I do know like all the spoilers for this book. So it'll just really be reading it so that I have the knowledge to engage in discussion about it, not because I don't know what happens. And then I also got The Sinister Booksellers of Bath by Garth Nix. This is the sequel to, what's it called? The Left-Handed Booksellers of London. I typically buy all of Garth Nix's books because he's just such a beloved writer for me, but I just haven't gotten around to buying this one yet, and I saw it at the library, and it is a new book, so I cannot renew it, but who knows, I might be able to read it in 3 weeks. And then I went to my favorite local coffee shop, and I had their apple coffee cake, and it was so good. Like, that is the yummiest treat I have had in a long time. And now I need to go on Pinterest and see if I can find a recipe for like, or maybe not applesauce, but like there's like an apple compote thing on top of the coffee cake, and it was so good. And I still have a bunch of apples from my mom's house that I need to make something with. So maybe I'll bake again this weekend. And then while I was there, I made a little bit more progress in Breathless. We're right now going through the like brushes with pandemics that we had in the early 2000s and then in 2013 with SARS and what was the one in the early 2000s? I don't know. My one complaint about epidemiology in, was it Ebola? Maybe it was Ebola in the early 2000s. My one complaint about epidemiology in general is there are too many acronyms, and I am really struggling. Just more than like, I don't know, like on this one page, I'm on a random page, and there's obviously ones that I know, like DNA, RNA, which I know now because of COVID. What else is on here? SARS, there's a thing called ProMed, there's CDC, the CDC, which is the Chinese Center for Disease Control. There's just on every page, there's just so many. There's a thing called FASTA. There's just so many acronyms. Gosh, I hope that's the right word. That I am never going to remember all of these. There's CEPI, which stands for Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations. Like, there's just so many. That is going to be my struggle with this book, is just keeping all of those straight. And then I'm continuing to work on the second novella for the Tensorate series. This one is called Red Threads of Fortune, and about halfway through with it. And this will probably be the goal for this weekend, is to finish the second novella so that I can start the third one, because I have to have this whole ding book finished by the end of the month. But I'm also trying to like build in breaks between each novella. So that's what I'm doing. I have about 2 hours before I need to go pick up the littlest from school, and I also want to edit this vlog a little bit because I'm going to try and get it up on Sunday, which means I have to have it like edited and done by Saturday. I need to do a little work on that, so I'm not scrambling to get it all done tomorrow because I don't like doing that. And that is it. The downside of having that coffee cake is that now I'm not hungry and it's like lunchtime, so I don't think I'm gonna eat. And I think I'm just gonna go, I'm gonna put on my headphones and listen to an audiobook and do laundry. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay. All right, everyone, I have bad news. First of all, I'll move the fan out of the way. I'll keep moving into it. Okay, first of all, I forgot to turn off my timer, which, let's be honest, the fact that I've gotten to Friday of doing this challenge and this is the first time I forgot to turn off the timer, like, that's really a win for me because I am not good at the timer situation. But, yeah, and I have no idea how long it was going for. Probably at least 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes. So there's that. But I think I met my goal for today. Maybe. I'm not done reading. I'll keep reading. But now I have no idea what the timer situation is. Second bit of bad news is I don't love it yet. I've only read a chapter. I only read chapter 1. I read it while I was waiting for my youngest to get out of school. But it's first person POV. Who writes fantasy in first person POV? Anyways, maybe it'll be fine. Maybe it'll be fine. I'm not giving up. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep going. I give every book between like 50 to 70 pages before I make a decision. But I'm nervous. So, thoughts and prayers for me, please. The good news, where is it? The good news is I started Station Eternity while I was folding laundry, and I am really enjoying this so far. This is about Mallory Viridian, who lives on a space station that is, God, what is it populated by? They're like these weird giant wasps. Like there's a line where she describes the aliens as beings that make murder hornets look like, God, what was it? It was so funny. An insect that made an Asian giant hornet look like a ladybug. That's what these aliens look like? No. So she lives on this space station that is run and operated by these wasp-like aliens, and they have very limited humans allowed. It's just her and one other person. And she is on this space station because murders follow her, just happen to occur around her all the time, and then she ends up solving them. And so like chapter 1 is like taking you through all the murders throughout her entire life that have occurred within proximity to her, and then all the ways she's then had to solve those murders and how many people it has made dislike her. And so now she's on the space station because she figures if she's not around humans, then nobody can die, except then the station agrees to start allowing additional humans on board. And so it throws Mallory into a state of panic. So I'm only on chapter 2. I'm really liking this so far. It's really fun. It's inventive. I've read Mer Lafferty before. I read 6 Weeks and absolutely loved it. But like 6 Weeks has a totally different tone so far than this one has. But I think this will be a really good time. So I'm very excited. So it's a real mishmash of emotions this evening. But the kids voted to watch Pirates of the Caribbean for the 50 billionth time. So they're going to do that. I have reading sprints with Steph in like 40 minutes, but I'm currently rotating the pizzas through the oven, and then I'll eat. I bought hard cider today, which I'm really excited about because I haven't had cider in forever, so I'm going to have that with my dinner. And I don't know what I'm going to do. I am starting to feel a little burnt out on reading. I think I went a little too hard this week, even though I really liked pretty much everything I've read, but I have read a lot this month. I usually read a lot, but I've read a lot this month, so I think I went a little too hard. But I don't know what else to do. I can't just stop reading. Then what will I do with my time? be on my phone, which is what I'm trying not to do. So anyways, yeah, that's my night. I think I'm gonna keep going with Station to Turn. I'm not gonna predict. Who knows? I'm gonna read whatever feels right in the moment. But for now, I'm gonna turn the fan back on because it's 90 degrees outside. My room is getting hot without the circulation, and keep making pizzas and popping into the living room to watch my favorite parts of Pirates of the Caribbean. Hello, friends. This is a quick, slightly chaotic update. Happy Saturday! I forgot my sunglasses. I have the hiccups, and I have to go to work shortly. So, you know, we're just doing what we can. I've read for an hour and 53 minutes, but I'm recording on my phone, so I'll just put the screenshot up there. I finished the second novella in the Tensorate series this morning while I was at the gym. I didn't love it as much as the first book, but it was still really good. These are always more emotional than I'm expecting them to be. And somehow I'm reading 5 books. So, you know, it's kind of a situation, but it'll be fine, she says optimistically. It's also the middle of September, which is typically when I start a bunch of books. So at least I'm consistent, I guess. That is the update for what I've managed so far this morning. Oh, last night, sprints were fine. I ended up getting vertigo at like 8 o'clock, which was weird. And so I ended up going to bed pretty much right after we got the twins in bed because I just felt so horrible, but I feel a lot better today. And I have to work, which I think I already said. And then I don't know what we'll do this afternoon. There's an animal documentary on Disney Plus that I really want to watch, but nobody wants to watch it with me, so I might be watching it by myself. And I think we're getting takeout tonight, which we haven't done outside of like Pizza Fridays in a very, very, very long time. So I'm really excited to not make dinner 2 nights in a row. That will be awesome. Okay, I'm gonna go in, drink water, see if I can get rid of these hiccups. I'll talk to you later. Oh my gosh. Sorry to drop the ball on wrapping up this video. Okay, look, Saturday was a lost day. I got from work. I totally was wiped. I took a nap. I never nap, but I was so tired. And then I just totally forgot that I was doing a vlog. I did continue to read. However, I was reading when I fell asleep, and because I fell asleep, did not turn off my timer. So yeah, you know how the rest of that goes. And then Sunday was like back to square one because I got my screen report on my iPhone and my screen usage was down 36%, I think. I think my average for this past week was like an hour and 30 something minutes a day, which is well over an hour, sometimes an hour and a half down from, you know, what it was the week before. So I would count that as a success. I really like everything that I read last week. My reading in September, I'm so worried I'm gonna jinx it, but I'm having such a good time reading this month. So that's been great. I didn't finish anything else, did I? So I'm just gonna keep on keeping on. And if you have made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching and spending your precious time with me. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry I lost steam here right at the end. If you would like to leave a comment but don't have anything to say, let's do a dragon emoji. And ooh, no, let's do a dinosaur emoji because there are like pet raptors in the Tensorate series. So let's do that. And thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to y'all in the next one. Bye.